¿Qué miras?
With the end of the PS1 and leaping to the PS2, Tekken seemed to have a bright future ahead. So in 1999, Namco decided to test out a new style of Tekken game, that being Tekken Tag Tournament, releasing in the arcades on July 1st, 1999, and releasing on the PS2 on March 30, 2000 in Japan, being a launch title for the PS2 on October 26, 2000 in America, and on November 24, 2000 in Europe. Tekken Tag was meant to be a celebration of the past three games by having a dream match type scenario. Want to see Beck and Hwoarang team against Jun and Kazuya? You could do that. Tekken Tag 1's roster for the time was pretty damn huge, with 39 characters to choose from. So now, let's talk about Tekken Tag Tournament. Now, typically I'd start with a plot synopsis, but the Tekken Tag games really don't have one. So instead, I'll jump into what makes the Tekken Tag games different from the usual Tekken games. So, obviously, Tekken Tag fundamentally is no different than the usual games. Juggle people to death in combos, go through 8 stages, and beat the final boss, this time being the creature named Unknown. However, Tekken Tag introduces a bunch of new mechanics and features, and some will be exclusive to the tag games. Obviously, there's tagging. By pressing the shoulder buttons or flicking the right stick, you can switch out with your partner. Doing this allows for unique combos, saving your fighter's health, or getting out of tricky situations. Or even using one of the game's newest features, the Netsu system. Whenever the character fighting begins to take too much damage, their partner's health bar will flash red. If you switch to a character under Netsu, they'll do more damage for a short amount of time. Most Tekken fans nowadays know this as the Rage system, but the Tekken Tag games have something else to make their version of Rage extremely important. Every team has a certain compatibility, and this determines how many hits it takes for the partner to enter Rage. For example, a team like Panda and Xiaoyu will have Netsu trigger in 4 hits, while a team like Hwoarang and Jin will trigger in 7. Some characters can cause no Netsu at all, like teaming with Ogre, unless the teams really hate each other, like teaming Nina and Anna. Honestly, Netsu has so many variables and can be a pain to go in depth of, but compatibility is important for success in Tekken Tag. Well, not really. Let me explain. I haven't gotten into the competitive side of Tekken simply because I'm not a professional player, but this game's balance is some of the worst I've seen. You would need no other example but looking at characters like Devil compared to Prototype Jack, the latter actually being seen as one of the worst characters in competitive history. This game's competitive scene was overrun with Jins, Ogres, Devils. It was downright ridiculous. But honestly, go watch someone like the main man Sui about how bad this game's balance was. I'll plug his videos on Prototype Jack and Devil in the description. I'll also plug the Tekken Tag video done by That Blasted Salami. It's also a really good in-depth competitive history. In terms of the visuals, Tekken Tag as a launch title is pretty good. All the characters got a nice facelift, and the environments are pretty damn good looking. The school stage would actually make a return in Tekken Tag 2, and Tag would mark the final appearances for a few characters until Tag 2. Kunimitsu, Jun, Angel, and Alex wouldn't make a return until Tag 2, and Kunimitsu would be the only one to make another appearance outside of the Tag games, with her inclusion in Tekken 7. In terms of the music, for the most part it's pretty good. Tag's music has a weird style though. What I mean by that is that Tekken Tag has some weird instrumentation in the songs. I'm not sure how to describe it, but I'll show it in a sec. Something to note is that this is the first Tekken game to not include an option of listening to the arcade soundtrack, but to be completely honest, I think it's for the better in this case. Tag Arcade has only 2 better tracks than the console version in my opinion, those being the character select theme, and Jin's theme. The console version has some damn good songs on it though. Some examples are Hwoarang's theme, Eddie's theme, Yoshimitsu's theme, Lay's theme, the school theme, Xiaoyu's theme, Heihachi's theme, and Unknown's theme. But you can hear that a lot of the songs have this weird synthy bass or distorted vocals, and while it's not a bad soundtrack, I can understand why it's one of the most divisive soundtracks in the series. Tekken Tag brought back a lot of the familiar modes, but it included a really popular side game, Tekken Bowl. Pick a team of your choice and bowl through 10 frames with your team, with each character having certain power and spin stats. Honestly, this is a really good time killer, and while I wouldn't play this version, honestly I play Tekken 7s nowadays, if I want my Tekken Bowl fix, this is still a fun side game. Tekken Tag is a pretty solid game. The tag mechanics are fun, the dream match scenario is awesome, and it was pretty damn good for a launch title. Honestly, I can see why this one is pretty beloved. Now, since this review was going to be so short, I also wanted to take a quick glance at Tekken Advance for the Game Boy Advance. Releasing in December 2001 in Japan, January 2002 in North America, and March of 2002 in Europe, this is essentially Tekken 3 on the go. Instead of separate buttons for each limb, there's a punch button, a kick button, and a grab button, and commands are done similar to the motions in console Tekken. Honestly, Tekken Advance just feels like a test of how Tekken could work portably, because there really isn't much to this game. 10 characters to play as in total, only a select few stages. Really the most interesting thing in this game is the 3v3 tag minigame, but I don't have footage of that because this game is so bare bones. It's not a bad Tekken game, and the sound quality is pretty good, but it's so bare bones it's just not worth playing. Only thing I'll mention is that Law and Yoshimitsu had their Tekken 3 songs return, and they sound damn good for GBA, and Ogre's theme return, weirdly enough, for Heihachi. But nonetheless, Tekken Advance is a minuscule time, but pretty impressive for the hardware. Now the next review is going to be exciting because I get to talk about my first exposure to Tekken. I'm Payday, and I'll see y'all next time.